So, Bunnygal Senpai has to be one of the weirdest and misleading anime titles of all time. But in this video, I wanted to discuss why it became one of the best animes of 2018. Despite it being such a weird name, it has really become one of the top animes of 2018, not just because of the story, but also various aspects that an anime has to cover in order to become one of the best of its year. Anime about teens in high school are a dime a dozen in this medium. You could say if your anime isn't set in some sort of school setting, then chances are it's not really an anime unless it has a bunkeyes or something. While on the surface, this would look like a run of the mill show, it dares to offer something different than most high school anime doesn't dare touch, and that is reality itself. With a title such as Rascal Does Not Dream or Bunny Senpai, or Bunny Senpai for short, and the promotional poster of an attractive girl in a sexy bunny outfit, you would think that this would be a slice of life comedy, and with all of the tropes tossed into the pot in order to generate merchandise sales, right? That is where you are mistaken, and despite the red flag in the title, very long titles tend to be disappointing anime. It prioritizes storytelling before fan service and otaku pandering, giving the audience an atmosphere and characters that we can sympathize with and relate to on a deeper level than their appearance. The reality is showing how to deal and overcome some of the issues we go through in adolescence, and not all resolutions are happy endings. These issues come under the guise of a supernatural phenomena called puberty syndrome. With a straightforward plot, the story revolves around our main protagonist, Sakuta, who has got to be one of the best protagonists of all anime this year, who meets girls with puberty syndrome and must help them overcome their emotional instability in order to save them. It's a fictional illness which can cause a slew of problems for adolescents. My Sakurajima, who has got to be one of the best girls of 2018, is at the center of this, and she has experiences that is invisible to everyone. Mai is a well known celebrity, and yet very few people but Sakuta is able to see her, are able to remember that she even exists. We all know that feeling of being invisible. We know we physically aren't, and yet all the attention is directed at everyone else. We feel stuck, having to take it all in without actually being a part of it. It's heartbreaking for Mai, who is a social star and is used to being seen all the time. Despite her success, she's totally alone. Sakuta can relate to this since he's vicariously experienced it through his sister Kaede. It's soul crushing and he wants to help. Puberty syndrome is a culmination of all the things we hate about growing in adolescence, mainly the things we have gone through at our lowest points. It's a visualization of them, placing a magnifying glass on the invisible, examining what makes these particular things so painful. Sakuta's friend Rio acts as the show's narrative device, offering exposition on this phenomena and quantum mechanics that might otherwise came from a floating voice from the sky. Information is always better revealed through character interactions since we are experiencing the story through the eyes of Sakuta. Futaba doesn't just serve the purpose, she slots into the dynamic, falling for people just as other people do. There is a spark when our main protagonists are together. It's like a captivating dance. They are always in sync and they have amazingly beautiful chemistry together. Then the roles are reversed, back and forth, back and forth. They are not fighting, their energies are harmonized towards the mutual goal of seamless performance. Eventually, they are perfectly balanced against each other. Even in instances where the pair is fighting, whether it's subtextual, verbally, or physically, the balance remains. The spar, almost from the moment they meet, is beautiful to watch. Their arguments are earnest, but their energy is always aligned. The chemistry between them is the best thing that Benigel Senpai has to offer, and this is the result of putting two lively characters together where they create a dance of opposition and harmony, having a focus on dynamic character archetype, creating coherent conflict, and lastly, enacting change. What's to appreciate here is that Bunny Senpai manages to avoid delving too far into the cliche by keeping Sakuta solely interested in Mai. In fact, they become a couple, and early in the series, it's very refreshing to see an MC who isn't so easily swayed by other women and instead tries to keep things platonic between him and other girls struggling with puberty syndrome. He really likes Mai, and it shows. Sakuta treats people the same, and while his smug and sarcastic nature enjoys poking fun, underneath his deadpan persona is a genuine guy who's caring and respectful. Cloverworks, Cloverworks got the opportunity of adapting Hajime Mushida's light novel. The character designs are very much like beautiful, and to the likes of many Snafu and Monogatari, they look great, they feel great, and they sound great. Thanks to a talented selection of Sayus that bring their given character's personality to life, making them believable and hitting comedic scenes out of the park. Most of the soundtrack is casual, relaxing, and suits the light-hearted tones and pacing. There are also tracks for the gut punch scenes that evoke emotion, especially in instances where characters have melancholy reflections. The OP by the Peggies is a perfect song choice. It's a very catchy acoustic rock ballad. The ending is also nice, and I think they both were one of the best of this season at least. Bunnygal Senpai's message is incredibly relevant to the difficulties of teens today. It manages to be surprisingly poignant, a metaphor for the effects that issues such as bullying can have on youth. It manages to keep a consistent quality of the plot without sacrificing anything to adhere to quotas of fan service and otaku pandering. The Sakuta effect works because he is a strong character who handles situation maturely. He is not pessimistic nor arrogant in the senses he tries to do everything himself. He reaches out for help, and he knows his limitations, flaws, he's self-aware, he's genuine and honest. Great characters make for great writing, and Bunnygal Senpai is definitely a smash hit from Cloverworks and joins the discussion for Anime of the Year definitely. I will give it a 9 out of 10, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me.